How's it going today, guys? I'm out here in the middle of nowhere in Pioneer Country, Washington State, and I'm about to take you guys on a walk and talk through one of my favorite houses of all time out here, the Schrock house, as I call it. This is an old pioneer farmer house out here in eastern Washington, and it's pretty much right up my alley. I've been coming to this house for about 10 or 15 years now and checking in on it. This is the first time I've been here during a snowfall, though. Although I wish it could have been more of a productive snowfall. We haven't been getting very good snow the last 5-10 years out here in eastern Washington, in my opinion. I'd like to come out here and show you guys what it looks like in like a dead snowstorm out here, just to give you guys more of an idea of what it's like to be a pioneer out here, or what it was like to be an old farmer pioneer out here in the 18 and 1900s, just dealing with the weather and stuff, because the winters around here could be really crazy. Even though it's sunny out and it looks nice out there, it's really cold out here, probably in the mid 30s and whatnot, with a little bit of wind. I know they had a hard time staying warm out in these old pioneer houses back in the day. Check out the bedroom, see how it's doing. This is one of the downstairs bedrooms. This is a pretty nice old pioneer house, the Schrock house. It's definitely one of my favorites. Seems to be hanging in there pretty good because the roof hasn't completely come apart yet, which it's going to. Every year, a few more cedar shingle shakes get blown off by the wind, and eventually there ain't going to be none left. And this house is going to see the same fate as all of the rest. But as you can see, the roof's still doing really good. This is a solid house. It might even have a chance at being restored, but I'm not sure. Here's one of the upstairs bedrooms. This is the dark bedroom up here because they had to board this window shut. I don't know if you see it there, but definitely had some glory back in its day. It's an amazing house, definitely one of my favorites, and this is one of my favorite windows of all time. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know this window pretty well by now. And I'll show you guys the view of the outside. That's pretty incredible. Give you a whole tour of the room here. Yeah, this was somebody's dream home at one point in time. Kind of my dream home right now. I wish I had enough money to get this piece of property and restore this as much as I can. You see that window's boarded up too, but I like how they had those windows at the top of the staircase like that in these old farmhouses. And the steps are starting to fall apart finally, so I got to be pretty careful when I'm coming down the stairs here. Yeah, like to hope that this house still has some time left, but it's just really hard for me to tell. I don't know much about this house, and I don't have any stories about it, which is the case with most of these old houses out here. I wish I had something more for you guys. It's a beautiful, sunny winter day out here in Pioneer Land. Look at this living room. Always liked this living room too. I bet you this was just a really happy place to be back in the day when this house was first built and everything was going like it should be. Kitchen's definitely seen better days. The kitchens always seem to get messed up the most first, probably because of the water pipes and all that, but there's definitely a leak up here, as you can see, because the ceiling to the kitchen, it's really going south now. It gets a little bit worse every year. You got my favorite old hot water heater there. I love these old hot water heaters that they used to use back in the day. And this house just gets an A for its windows. They got nice window placement in this house and got a lot of good sunlight up here on the plateaus. Sometimes when it's sunny. That spruce tree, the lone surviving spruce tree out there, seems to be getting plenty of water. Let's go check it out here. You can definitely see that some critters have been using this spot. But not much more than that. I think I'm one of the only humans that come and visit this house anymore. Like I said, it's way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's right up my alley. This is one of my favorite places to come when I'm in Washington. And this old workshop here, and I've always liked these old school fences too. They're kind of creepy, but reminds me of Jeepers Creepers or something, but I've always liked them nonetheless. That happens every once in a while. You'll get startled by some birds that are hanging out somewhere and see all their footprints in here. And I really scared that one, and it scared me. I love it when I capture that stuff on film. Yep, somebody's old workshop out here back in the day. This is another one of those houses where I really would like to know the history about who lived here, and some old pictures would be awesome. They built like some kind of grain harvester or grain silo down there that's pretty cool. Sometime about 10-15 years ago, I went down there right in the middle of the summertime, and there's like a rattlesnake den over there. I'll never forget that at all. Like I said, I've been coming and visiting these places off and on for like the last 20 years. I'm just obsessed with these old farmer pioneer houses. I like to come see them just to see how they're doing year to year. Watch them as they deteriorate a little bit more, because they're just getting worse and worse and worse. Sorry to report to you guys that they're never really getting better and better and better. They're getting worse and worse and worse. But this one's still holding up pretty strong in a lot of areas. But I can see that things are starting to separate. Like right here now. This part of the house is starting to separate. And that ain't good. Pretty soon this house is going to start looking like half house. Go look back on my YouTube channel at a house I call half house, and that's what this house is going to start looking like soon. I love being up here on the plateaus, though. I swear it's like the sun's closer to you up here than most of the other areas in Washington. Just feels like it's right there, like it's not way, way far away, but just right there, a mile or two away. That's what it feels like. Even though I'm not getting much heat from it right now. Check out the house again from the side angle. And the infamous window, which is right there up top. That's one of my favorite windows of all time in any abandoned house. Got one of the best views ever. As you can see, some of the cedar shake shingles are still up there. That's why the house isn't completely flooding. It's almost completely flooding, but you can see, I think, I wouldn't be surprised if this place couldn't be repaired. The right money came into it, or somebody that came into it that cared enough. Here's a view of the back of the house. You can see birds and stuff have been walking around up there too. This place is definitely going back to nature and the critters, I can tell you that. I bet you it was a glorious, amazing homestead in its day. Let's go down here and check it out some more. There used to be a structure here too. It's probably where they kept their food. Probably a root cellar right there, and the roof finally came off. The workshop ain't gonna last much longer either, judging from the roof. It's got no protection anymore. You can see the old windmill pump from back in the day. Yep, the old Schrock house. The Schrock house that has the one surviving, what is that, a spruce tree, I believe? People have asked me a few times how this tree has survived and thrived so well out here in the desert, but as you can see, it's got to be drinking right now because of all the snow, and there's a creek that goes through here. It's hard to tell, but sometimes it's running, sometimes it's dry. It just kind of depends on the weather patterns. Go back in the house one more time. It's interesting all the different fabrics and stuff they use to help insulate these houses. They're all coming off now, but I bet you this fabric really helped keep that wind from biting them so hard out here, because the camera doesn't do it justice. It is really windy out here on the plateau. There's really no protection from it. You're on the top of everything. So what can you do? Look at that right there. This is actually some kind of board that they put on in this room. I love their windows in this house too, just because of how they framed them in. I love how all the framing's nice and well done, and craftsmanship is on point. And I bet you this was one heck of a bedroom back in the day, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Check it out one last time. There's a cemetery in the backyard up here that I'm going to take you guys to now as well. So you see, there's the old farm homestead right there. And the old grain silo. But over here in the backyard, there's this old cemetery that I was telling you guys about. And the thing about this cemetery that I like is it's the first one that I really found as far as the old pioneer farmer cemeteries go. And it was right in the backyard of this house, so it's kind of how I got into farmhouses and these old cemeteries. When I was younger, I would just go on long walks, 10, 20, 30-mile walks out in the middle of nowhere. And one day I stumbled upon this house, and in the backyard I found this cemetery, and I kind of got obsessed ever since with both of them, and finding the history of the area and stuff like that is kind of where most of this started. And so I'm going to show you guys this old pioneer cemetery too. Nice sunny winter day out today. It's kind of a unique day out here. So let's look at this headstone. Emma, wife of Martin M. Nelson. She died July 19th, 1900. And she was 9 years, 5 months, and 27 days old. And we got Ella. She was born in 1896. I think she only lived to be 10 years and 4 months old. So she died in like 1906 out here in the prairie. It was a rough life living out here, trying to be a farmer and eke out a living. They didn't have much support, I can tell you that, and they did a lot of work in the building up of this area. You can see the roof of the house down there. So like I was telling you guys, this cemetery is literally right in the backyard. And I'm going to show you guys some more headstones now. We got Jenny, the wife of John something. She died in 1899 and she was just 24 years old. That's crazy. Truly is. This is a pretty cool headstone too. Gone but not forgotten. And this is a headstone of John, husband of Hannah O'Flaherty. He was born in 1845 and he passed away in 1902. This is definitely a early 1900s cemetery. We have a child grave here, Ava Mont. She was the infant of J.B. and M. Davis, and she only got to spend 2 days on the planet Earth. You see a decent amount of little child headstones like that out in these pioneer farmer cemeteries because it was tough living back in the day out here. It definitely wasn't like it is today. This is the grave of Henry W. Davis, and he was born in 1841 and died in 1916. And this is kind of cool, a little odd, but kind of cool. This farmer pioneer cemetery has some recent burials. This is the Thompson area. Got Eric Thompson, Raymond Thompson, Corrine, Raymond Sr., Florence, Boone. Boone seems to be the first Thompson buried here in 1940. So my guess is the Thompsons are probably farming this area now. And they're just farming around the Schrock house now. They're not really too concerned about the Schrock house itself anymore. And that's kind of generally the fate of a lot of these farmhouses, is they'll just get farmed around for a while until they start completely falling apart or becoming a liability, and they'll get knocked down, and then soon this will just be another wheat field. You'll never really even know that there's a Schrock house right there. And it's coming. I can't tell you guys when, but it's definitely coming at some point.